that we work in. So the film crew came into the office, and I just want you to make a mental note of all of the things that are maybe a little unusual or different that you see in the office environment, and then we'll come back and talk about that. Thanks, Mark.
Today on 21st Century Business, explore state-of-the-art technology, innovative business strategies, insights from cutting-edge corporations around the globe, a visionary look into the answers of tomorrow, today. Business leaders, business solutions, 21st Century Business.
Welcome to 21st Century Health. I'm Jackie Bales. Despite all the debate over healthcare in this country, one thing's for sure, Americans don't seem to be getting any healthier. Is giving people the ability to take more control and better manage their own personal health the answer? One company thinks so and says it's providing a way to do just that. Joining us is Dr. Henry DePhillips of Audax Health. Welcome, Dr. DePhillips.
Thanks, Jackie. Appreciate you having me on your show today.
First of all, why is healthcare so hard to change?
It's been around a long time. It's a very unusual business. If you think about the business model of healthcare, it doesn't make very good sense. So those who make the decisions about healthcare actually benefit financially from those decisions. Those who consume healthcare are not necessarily responsible for the cost of what they consume. And those who are footing the bill for healthcare really don't have a stake in what's recommended or received. Think about the analogy I like to use, buying a car. If it's coming out of your pocket, you're going to buy something that's reasonable. If someone else is paying, you're at the Ferrari dealership.
Good analogy. So tell us who Audax is and what Audax is doing to try to change healthcare.
So Audax Health is an entrepreneurial and innovative company. Our founder, Grant Verstandig, left Brown University after only 3 semesters, after experiencing the healthcare system firsthand, and decided to bring the technology that he was familiar with, social networking, gaming, Web 3.0 recommendation engine type experience, to an industry that really hasn't benefited from those technologies the way other industries have.
So we came up with a product called, what, CareVerge?
CareVerge is the product. It's our flagship product. It's out in the marketplace as we speak. Consumers can go on the site and use it for free. And CareVerge is the product that's going to change the face of healthcare and bring social and gaming and all the things that people do for fun that are much more engaging than sort of traditional healthcare sites to the marketplace.
Well, sounds like an idea that couldn't be more timely. So to see the CareVerge personal health platform in action, let's go to this 21st Century Health Field Report.
CareVerge is the first product that meets the expectations that consumers have with Facebook on a social level, Zynga on a gaming level, Mint on a management level, and we allow for consumers to really find a new value in healthcare where they can engage and manage socially or personally.
The feedback loop in healthcare is fundamentally broken. The outcomes of making bad choices is something you wouldn't experience until years down the road. So with microbehavioral changes, what we're trying to do is shorten the feedback loop there so that you can make small changes and have meaningful impact from them immediately.
So many people have tried to solve issues in healthcare by creating solutions that are fundamentally the old way to do it. They're inside out. We're trying to break the mold and be new, be fun, be innovative, and be engaging, and start with those things rather than trying to do the old conventional way.
What we give you as well is a personalized dashboard with information and recommendations on things you can do based on the information you've given us. So we'll give you articles to read, we'll give you communities to join, we'll give you activities, we'll give you health information, and we'll give you reminders to better manage your health.
So what do you hope for the future, for Audax and for health management itself?
So what we hope to do for tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people, is to allow them through the CareVerge experience to connect the dots between what they do on a day-to-day basis and how healthy they become in the end, and hopefully benefit the healthcare system in the United States by reducing costs because we have a healthier population.
It sounds like Audax and CareVerge are really onto something, especially with your emphasis on social networking, and really what a lofty goal. Thank you for sharing your insight and knowledge with us, Dr. DePhillips.
Jackie, thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.
And thank you for watching. For 21st Century Health, I'm Jackie Bales.
So when I go back to the office on Monday, that's what I'm going to be working on. Raise your hand or shout out, what'd you notice about the office environment that looked different? Casual, relaxed, laid back, no ties, young. We're going to come back to that. What else? Computer monitors everywhere. We've got guys in our office who have like 4 all going at the same time. I have no clue how to do that. So here's where I am. And I may get the award for least likely to be asked back to do this presentation again after this. So I'm a product of higher education, and I'm working for a person who is younger than my 2 older children and who left college after 3 semesters. He's my boss. Bright guy. I'm happy to do it. Next Mark Zuckerberg, that kind of discussion has already sort of started to bubble up. I work with a group of people who were the seniors in the room. So they're like, most of the people I work with are like 3 years older than you. They do internet websites in their spare time during high school. They may have or may not have attended a little bit of college. If they did, they chased women and drank beer anyway. They didn't even go to class. But they're really smart, and I'm not recommending that, by the way, but the bottom line is they're brilliant when it comes to engaging consumers. So we have people in our company who wear jeans and t-shirts, as you saw, who come from Pixar and LucasArts and Disney and all of these creative companies. About 2/3 of our company are Macintosh creative users, less than 1/3 are like me, old school PC users. But what's really interesting is when I got ready to come in today, I was talking to some of the faculty before this discussion. They said, these discussions is all about science and technology, so the sort of more art-oriented people really kind of get lost in these discussions. Well, guess what? You could be a total creative artist. We have animators in our office. You could be totally creative and have a career in healthcare. It's wild stuff, and the people I work with are fantastic. They're young, they're bright, they know no bounds. They don't know failure. They don't have all this corporate culture stuff. It is such a breath of fresh air. I can't recommend it enough. So think about that. Again, this is different than maybe the career path that you sort of pictured for yourself. I'm going to walk through just a series of discussion points. Sorry, didn't mean to be in the way. A slide. I'm going to walk through a series of discussion points. I'm going to share with you how I sort of think about some of this stuff and some of the lessons I've learned. Hopefully you'll take something away that's valuable to you. So when it comes to, obviously you need to generate income for yourself. You have to, if you're going to support a family and support yourself and create a nest egg and eventually stop working and still have money in the bank, you need to, focus at least somewhat on making some money. So there's really 2 ways to generate income, and you'll find me to be a very binary thinker. It just makes the whole complex world real easy if I just slice and dice it 2 ways and only have to make one decision between those 2. So you'll see that over and over. So the first way is to create value for people. So would it be valuable if I got everyone in this room to eat better, exercise more, and get their preventive health screenings? Probably there would be a value to that, not only to you but to society. And it also needs to be very, very focused. And we're going to come back to sort of the focus thing. You can't boil the ocean. We're not going to solve the healthcare problem, but we can certainly chip away at it. It's a huge problem. It took dozens of years to create this problem. We're not going to fix it real short, but we can chip away at it. And then you can either create value for people, and then there's everything else. And everything else is everything else. Not creating value for people. So the problem in healthcare, you heard me say this on the video, is that the business model in healthcare really makes no sense. So here's something to think about. Try going with your folks or whatever to the grocery store and pick up in the cart like $500 worth of groceries, which is probably an average 2 to 3 week grocery bill for most of you guys. And then when you get to the cash register, just look that cash register person in the eye and say, I'm going to give you like $20 and then someone else will eventually pay you for the rest. See ya. And try to get out of the store with your groceries. Is that going to work? Probably be arrested. But that's how healthcare is, right? So I need an MRI. It's $1,000. Yeah, what's my copay? Like 20? I think I got that in my wallet. Here's the 20. Someone else is going to pay the rest. Oh, by the way, if they're so good, can I get 2? That's 40. I have that. And I'm being a little bit sarcastic, but that's sort of how the healthcare problem got the way it is. From a business standpoint, healthcare makes no sense at all. It's the worst business model on planet Earth, and that's why it's so expensive and the outcomes are not that good. So that's the issue, and that's the challenge. So we need to kind of chip away at that. You need to sort of get at the edges and sort of fix that in a way that we can. So the way I look at my career path is not that I've gone from company to company or done a gazillion different things and gotten a little bit of career ADD, but when I was a resident in family medicine as part of the training program, we had to take care of a number of patients. I had 400 patients that I was responsible to take care of. When I left private practice, I had 4,000 patients I was taking care of. When I went to the health insurance company, I actually was able to impact the care of 4 million people. Then when I went to to do healthcare IT throughout the United States, U.S. population, it was about 300 million, so I was actually impacting about 300 million people. And with social networking, there are no geographic boundaries. There are people all over the world that are using that CareVerge platform that you heard about. So the potential is now the world's population. So I now am potentially impacting the health some way of 6 billion people around the world. So to me, that's pretty cool. So I can feel pretty good about that. By the way, all of you are in that 6 billion. So this is an interesting little discussion. I have no idea how this is going to fly with the faculty, but it's one person's opinion. There's a lot of focus in our society as you go through not only courses, but life, and certainly if you get into the business world, about being well-rounded. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with sort of the review process. The review process when you're at work is, you know, here's my assessment, your boss's, whatever, assessment of how you performed over the past year. And usually what it boils down to is you did these things really well, and you did these things not so well, so these need improvement. And by the way, you know, whatever ever about your personality needs some work, so we're going to set you up with a psycho whatever to fix that problem as well. That's kind of how a review goes in the business world, right? So if you think about that, this goes kind of like think about the tie thing. If you think about that, what the business world kind of asks people to do, at least historically, is to spend more time focused on the things that you don't do well. Does that make sense to anybody in here? Don't you think it would be a little bit smarter to spend more time on the things that you do really well and just accelerate that and become incredibly valuable in whatever that is, and then whatever part of your personality that people don't like, they'll get over it? I mean, think about that. So one of the things that I'm going to recommend to you is, the teachers are going to hit me for this. I'm never going to be asked back. I already know that. So I'm just going to keep going. Is that okay? All right. Forget about well-rounded. If you like art, do art. If you like music, do music. Become the best musician you can possibly be. Become the best artist you can possibly be. If you don't like math or science, and I like math and science, by the way, if you don't like math or science, why would you spend extra time trying to get good at it? So thank you. You've affirmed what I think. I'm looking at both sides to see if there's a hook. You guys don't have a hook, do you? If you do, I'm in trouble. Now, say again?
Work here.
I don't know that I'm ever going to be allowed back on the campus here. Never mind get a job here. But thank you. I appreciate that. So this is another sort of thought that I think is pretty important. Anybody, raise your hand if you're interested in telling me, how do you define integrity? Somebody, just help me define integrity. What does it mean? What you do when no one's looking. I like that. That's good. How else? What else can we say about integrity? What's integrity? Again? Honesty plus morality. Morals. Ethics. Absolutely. Truthfulness. So there's a number. Yeah. You look like you got volunteered. Having strong moral principles. Very good. So all of those are probably right, but let me share with you how I define integrity. And it goes back to what the first gentleman said. The way I define integrity, and we'll get to the point of this in a moment, the way I define integrity is when I spend time with a person, whoever that person is, I listen to them long enough to understand how they think. And you can learn a lot in 3 minutes of someone talking about how they think. Then I listen to what they say. I listen to them, just the words that they use. But the most important characteristic when I evaluate somebody is I sit back and watch what they do. It's like watching a play. Each of you are actors, and I just kind of watch what you do. And then in my world, integrity is the alignment of those three. So do they do what they said they were going to do? Do they say what it is they're going to do and then do it? Do they think along the lines of what they say and what they do? And if you use that level of that definition of integrity, it will, I think, be very helpful to you as you size up the people that you choose to associate with. I have found it to be incredibly valuable. And the people that I choose to associate with have to have integrity, not only the morals and ethics. I mean, if they break the law or they're doing deceptive things with money, which unfortunately happens a fair amount, I'm out the door anyway. But the way they think, what they say, and is what they do, are those three in alignment? That's a really cool tool. And it has helped me tremendously. So think in your mind about some of the people you know, don't say anything, and think about the alignment or even the misalignment of some of those things. I suspect as you think about that, some of the people that you enjoy hanging out with, probably those three are in alignment. And if there's like someone in your class or your social circle or your family that you would prefer not to spend time with, for lack of it, it's probably because those three things are a little bit out of alignment. And it's tough. It's tough. So that's my definition of integrity. Hopefully that will be useful to you. This is powerful. This is really powerful. And it gets better. Ask questions. Ask questions. Y'all are going to have a chance to ask questions, by the way. That's why those microphones are there. So we're going to come back to the whole question thing. Asking questions is a great tool. In fact, I'm finding that the smartest people I know are the ones who know how to ask the best questions. And if you get really good at asking questions, you'll get just way further in life. So do people like to be told? Like if I sat here and said, you need to go to your next class and it's whatever in this building. Is that fun? How about if I say, what is it that you get to do after you leave this room? Does that, if nothing else, does that like feel a little bit better? So it's all about asking the right questions. There's a couple things about asking questions, and this is being recorded, so it's going to be public, so I have to be careful about the examples I use. But I'm going to give you a real-life example from this week. It's a very inoffensive way to probe, to learn, and ultimately to sort of get people to do things, which is not easy. And the person who's asking the questions is in control. So think about a class that you were in recently, and the professor in front of the room is sharing knowledge, sharing information. And then a hand goes up, and maybe one of you is the one with the hand goes up. Professor stops, yields the floor to the person, and the person asks a question that is just out there, moronic, idiotic, whatever adjective you want to use. Does that not like change the whole flow in the room at that moment in a pretty amazing, not necessarily in that example, a good way? Do you understand what I'm talking about? The person that asks the question is in control. Why do you think I'm asking you a bunch of questions? It is a very, very powerful tool. So here's the real world example. If I'll even use the real name since it's going on the internet anyway. Ray. So I just got done this past weekend moving my son from DC to Florida. He's a chef, and he found a position as a chef at a really nice restaurant in Miami. We had a blast. He's moving into a house with a roommate, and the previous roommate was supposed to be gone before we got there. So we got there, and the previous roommate is still in the room where my son is moving into. That was a challenge. And Ray is the guy's name, and it's not changed, that's his real name. Super nice guy, very personable, charismatic. It's pretty clear how he gets through life. He's a charmer, in a good way, I guess. And so he wasn't moving out of the room. So like, I'll move out tomorrow, just put all your stuff in the garage. So we did that. And then the next day you kind of go back and he's kind of still not gone. And now it's like, well, I need to like get my clothes out of boxes, take a shower, all the usual stuff. And so my first sort of thought as I talked to my son was, you really don't want to get involved in this. The guy that owns the house really needs to take care of getting him out and getting you in. It's really not your problem. But then the more I thought, and that's just not going to happen if you knew the personalities. So then the more I thought about it, I thought, let's use the tool. So what I suggested was, I said, Justin, when you get back to the house, just walk up to Ray and say, hey, Ray, how are you? Good. Thanks for your help unloading the truck. That was great. When should I expect to move into that room? To me, it's inoffensive. It's a great question. It makes him think about the answer to the question. And also, when he answers the question, you now have something that he needs to commit to and you can remind him of. So that's just one example, but think about asking great questions. It's wonderful. If you're ever out of control, just ask a question. This is like me on steroids. Be impatient. Be impatient. I cannot tell you how important it is to be impatient. Be impatient in your career path. Be impatient in your relationships. Be impatient related to achieving your goals. Be restless. Don't be, what's the opposite of, not patient, but what's you comfortable, relaxed, or whatever in your position. Don't do that. Don't do that. Constantly be thinking about how a different way that you could be spending your time that would be more productive toward accomplishing whatever your goals are. Have goals, of course, and then be impatient about attaining those goals. Each of the career moves I've made that got me to this fun spot that never in a million years I would have dreamed of was because I got really impatient with what else is there to do in this career path. In business and in life, impatience is the virtue. If there's somebody you want to develop a relationship with, go talk to that person. Don't wait. Just be impatient. It'll serve you well. Change. How many people are a little nervous when it comes to change? Okay, now most of the rest of you need to now tell the truth. Like, change is tough, right? Change is tough. Here's a change. Suppose I said, Monday's school schedule, we're going to have it tomorrow. Is that right? No? What if I said if we have Monday's scheduled tomorrow, you get the whole next week off? Are you in? All right. That's not happening, just for the record. What I'm saying is, every single change brings an opportunity. So when I talked about all of Monday's schedule is going to happen tomorrow, who in the room immediately went to, what can I now do on Monday that I couldn't have done if I was in school? That's the opportunity. Going to school on Saturday, that's not good. Having a day off on Monday could be really good because everybody else is at work, right? Everybody else is in school. So what could you do? So that's the way I think. And let me talk about change a little bit. Be a change, not only do I recommend that you embrace change, every change brings a good opportunity. It's all a matter of just asking the right questions and finding the opportunity inside the change. Being a change agent is even better. It is how you can distinguish yourself in a crowded field of really smart people. People who are change agents are referred to or thought of as visionaries. They're thought of as evangelists. They're thought to be ahead of their time. And this is a quote that I love. It's one of my favorite quotes. Success is where preparation meets opportunity. So if you can anticipate change or even influence change or even cause change, and you're prepared for the new opportunity that change brings, that's success. Does anybody happen to know what the original quote, this is a quote that was changed, one word was changed, and it was originally quoted like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Anybody know what the original quote was? The original quote was, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. I don't believe in luck. Preparation, opportunity, embracing change, that's where success is. It's not luck. So Henry Hartman is the guy that changed that one word to success. Who said that? Ooh. Oh, thank God somebody knew it. I was thinking to myself, God, I'm that old, he's that old. Yeah. What is it? Yeah, so good. And that's when he played on his Canadian team before he went to a U.S. team. How many people play hockey in the room? I know you guys have a nice hockey rink. So let me ask one of the folks with their hands up. If you skate to where the puck is, what happens? Who said it over here? What did you say? It's gone. If the puck's over there and you skate over there, guess what? The other team's not stupid. They're going to pass it to somewhere else where you're not. So the key is to skate to where the puck is going to be. And that analogy should guide your life. Social networking is huge, and it's going to be around for a while. I want to know what comes after social networking. I want to know about the chip that's going under the skin that allows me to communicate with anybody in my network at any time without pushing a button. Think about what's popular today. Think about what you want to do today. Think about what that looks like today. And then think about how that's going to change a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Just because some person or something or some career path is popular today, by the time you get there, the world will be on to the next thing. This is changing so fast. The information age has changed everything. It used to be the most educated people had the highest incomes. It's no longer necessarily the case. It used to be that the people, I want to make sure I'm careful about where to take this. There are a lot of things that are going to be different by the time you guys really get done school, if you decide to go to college and get out, that are going to change. Just think about what the world's going to look like down the road and skate for that puck. Skate for that puck. It's